Welcome to the One Life podcast. We're Alison and Neil, certified coaches, and we believe you only have one life, so you need to make it count and have some fun along the way. We're here to explore possibilities and share useful insights and ideas to help you live a happier, more fulfilling life. Hello, beautiful podcast listeners, and happy 2025. I cannot believe that we are in 2025 now, that it is the start of a new year, and I'm so thrilled to be spending it with you in this way. So I hope you had a lovely restful break, made loads of memories, ate way too much food. That's what Christmas is about, really, isn't it? I think. I was emailing someone at work the other day and I was like, "You looking forward to Christmas?" And he replied and said, "Yeah, I'm looking forward to the big eat." So I think maybe that's how we should rebrand Christmas. I'm sure the supermarkets would love it. But anyway, this podcast episode today is a solo episode, and it's all about my words for 2025. So it's kind of deliciously self-indulgent, actually, and I'm just going to share where I'm at with you and where my thoughts are. And I hope that this is helpful for you in terms of helping you think about and reflect where you are in relation to some of these concepts. And maybe if you haven't got your word for 2025, then it inspires you to come up with a word or words for 2025. Because I've chosen three. Because it's my rules and I'm extra and there's no 2025 word police. So, sue me. So I'll tell you the words and then I'll explain a little bit about why I chose them. But actually, no, before we even go there, I'm just going to say what is an intention for the year, because it's different from setting a goal. And there are definite pros to setting goals and having that real structure and focus. And, especially if it's smart, check that you are moving forward, that you're progressing. But setting an intention or having a word is like you're facing in the direction of a particular area, but you're also open-minded as to how it might look. You're not so rigid as, I want things to be like this specifically and I'm going to force my way to make it happen. You're more like, I'm just going to orient this way and kind of be open and see what happens, but keep orienting and reorienting myself this way. So I like the energy of a word or setting an intention for 2025 for that reason. So my words are magical possibilities, so essentially one phrase, and trust. And the reason why I chose magical possibilities to start off with, and so I've picked this word because I've been reflecting on my own life, and I think there are so many things that Ali of 18 years old would look at Ali now in 2025. I'm not going to tell you my age, but significantly older than 18. And never in a million years would I have dreamed that some of the things that have happened in my life have happened. I have an incredible partner and soulmate for 15 years. 15 years we're still going. I have a beautiful family and friends who I love. My relationship with myself and my body image, my work, my role in the NHS. I'm actually helping people, making a difference, contributing, although sometimes it is very freaking hard, don't get me wrong, but actually, I kind of enjoy the complexity and the difficulties and all of these things, without wanting to toot my own horn, I feel really proud of this 30-something woman that I am right now, compared to this 18-year-old girl who had such low confidence around so many things that she would self-reject to not let other people or situations reject her. So I just think that I'm sure if you look at your life where you are now compared to where you were when you were younger, there are so many things that you've done that have seemed magical. And so I want to carry this energy of magical possibilities, magical actualities that have already happened, but, into future magical possibilities. And so what feels really edgy for me is to believe that things can continue to get better and better, and that it's not greedy or ungrateful of me to want that, to receive that. There's this concept called the upper limit problem. So, you have like your comfort zone where you might be doing things that actually feel comfortable to you. Like, for example, I don't know, sitting on the couch instead of going for a run because the run is actually like physically uncomfortable. So there's also like an upper limit comfort zone. So you have a limit of what you accept as positive, juicy, wonderful, good things and feelings. And that if you start to exceed that limit that you have imposed on yourself, you will self-sabotage to bring yourself back down to make it feel more comfortable to you, even though more comfortable might actually be less objectively good. Does that make sense? I know, it's weird, right? It's so weird, but so true. And I know in the past that when I have been hitting my upper limit of good things, I have totally self-sabotaged by avoiding things entirely, and like impressively so, or being extraordinarily ambivalent. So I may act, but then stop acting. So it's like one step forward, two step back, one step forward, two steps back, and do this really obscure oscillating dance between action and inaction. So we're going deep here. Coming back to my word, magical possibilities, just being open to this notion that things can get better and that they might get better in ways that I don't even know or can't anticipate, and that can be good and acceptable and enjoyable for me. Okay, so my second word that I picked was trust. And just a little side note to give you some context, because what I've found over the last few months, in fact, is that you can have different understanding of different concepts at different levels, right? So like this is both personally as myself in my own improvement journey, and I see this with my clients as I coach them. And what I've really noticed is that how someone phrases words or ideas can really unlock a new level of understanding in you. And then when you have that new understanding, you can then make different decisions and take different actions. So something that's happened for me over the last few months is my own understanding of myself as a perfectionist. I knew that I was a perfectionist. I've actually recorded a podcast episode that I did a good few years ago where I literally explain about my perfectionism and how it presents for me. And I'll put a link to it in the notes if you want to listen to it. But I've been reading this book called The Perfectionist's Guide to Losing Control. I cannot remember the author's name, Catherine someone. I forgot her name, I'm sorry. But anyway, and I swear to God Almighty, I have never read a book that has described me more perfectly than that book. Like, it is spot on. I feel that this woman can see into my soul, and she has laid it bare for me. And so my own understanding and my own self and that mirror that she's held up to see myself as a perfectionist is like, wow, it's been mind-blowing. And interestingly, it's helped me to see my mum in a whole new way as well, because she's actually a perfectionist too. And I never realised that. I never really kind of put two and two together. I mean, if you meet my mum, you'd be like, well, Ali, of course she is. But do you know what I mean? This is the thing about like deeper levels of understanding around certain ideas and concepts. So anyway, the core underlying drive behind perfectionism is this compulsion to minimize the gap between ideal and reality, which is what I love to do. Help people to achieve their goals, achieve my own goals. And this is the very joie de vivre of a perfectionist. Side note, I actually don't like the term perfectionist because I don't ever think I'm aiming for perfection. I'm just aiming to improve. So like improvementist is my preferred word. But anyway, one of the traits that can be associated with this perfectionism is procrastination. And so what I have really become aware of over the last few months, and going back to the reason why I chose the word trust, is the procrastination and the putting off, or rather the difficulty of making decisions that I have around certain things in my life. And the main kind of area around decision making that I really struggle is around time and like managing my time, managing my energy, managing my schedule. So if someone says to me like, oh, let's go and meet for a coffee, I'd be like, yes, that's great, amazing, love to do that. But then I'd look at my schedule and be like, well, when am I going to do this? Because I've got all these things and responsibilities and things that I need to do. And I don't know, like, should I be scheduling it on another day that I'm doing a social thing? Would that be like too much social things in one day? Will I be socialed out? Will I have the energy to do it after work? Should I wait for a weekend? Do you know what I mean? There's all this level of overthinking around going for a coffee with someone, which is something that I want to do. And what happens is I either get very stressed about making decisions around scheduling, or I just don't do things. I don't initiate or ask someone if they want to go for a coffee, or I might take ages and ages to reply back because I'm like stressing out about my own diary. Anyway, you're getting a deep insight into my psyche here now. I hope you experience the vulnerability that I am feeling. But the reason why I've chosen trust is because what underlies that manic indecision is this trust that I'm not going to be able to handle whatever is going on in my day. That I'm going to be too tired, or I'm going to be too socialed out, or I'm going to be too drained, or too whatever it is, whatever is preventing me from making this decision, or believing that I need to have this perfect calendar, this perfect schedule. There is an underlying lack of trust in myself. And so I am embracing the word trust and embracing this notion of, I'll just give it a go. I'll just see what happens, and trusting that I will be okay with whatever decision that I make and just going with the flow. And the worst thing that can happen is I just feel a bit too tired or drained. It's such a first world problem, isn't it? Oh my gosh. But it's true. These are the things that like cause you the most distress in a strange way, and actually prevent you from enjoying your life and like making the most out of life. So yeah, those are my words for 2025: magical possibilities and trust. And this has been a very self-reflective, self-disclosing episode of the podcast. But I hope that there's been something that has resonated with you, even though it has been all about me. And I'd love to hear what your word or words are for 2025. And why did you pick them? What are you orienting towards, and how would you like your year to look? If you have enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe to the podcast or share it with a friend who you think might also enjoy it. And thank you so much for spending your time with me today. And I look forward to seeing you next time on the podcast. Have a fabulous day. Mwah.